Welcome to the Sacred Birth Circle. This episode is a heartbreaking but inspiring episode that will help us to reduce stillbirths in this country. Maya Vander has been somebody that has helped immediately after her loss to raise awareness about stillbirth, and she is dedicated to creating change in Mason's memory. We hope this episode will activate you to demand better care for yourself and all families. Hello, welcome to the Sacred Birth Circle. My name's Vick. I'm here today with my favorite guest. I love her so much. I've gotten a chance to interview her once already. Thank you all for joining us. And this is Maya Vander, of course. Everyone's familiar with her from Netflix Selling Sunsets. And of course, she's been very outspoken in this community now as far as being a mother who lost a baby in the last year. It's just so devastating. And I think what you're doing, Maya, is just so important. And I know you didn't have a choice because you were out there already with your pregnancy, obviously. So people will want to know what happened. But I think just breaking stigma and stereotypes is so important for prevention. So thank you for sharing.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I try to be as involved as I can with the hectic, crazy schedule and kids, but my goal is to really create more awareness because moving forward, and I still want to get pregnant again. It's like, okay, now we're going to monitor you. Now we're going to, and I have great doctors, but it's like, why is it like I have to bury a child in order to be monitored more? And it's kind of like, okay, now you're in the bad luck statistics, so we're going to take care of you. But meantime, I have to deal with the trauma, and obviously, so as you and so as so many other women. I mean, I still get messages all the time with different stories, and I try to just be there for the other women myself. It helps me too, frankly.
Right. I think what's incredible really is the fact that you were pregnant on television. Now everyone saw that, like last season, you were pregnant, beautiful, healthy, everything's going perfectly. And so I think that in itself is like blowing people's minds. Like, how did that happen to a normal pregnancy? And it does.
Exactly.
It happens so often. And it actually happens more to a low risk family, like you mentioned, because the level of care is different for someone who's considered normal, healthy, textbook, like we were. So
Yeah.
it's a lot of chance for things to kind of slip through the cracks, where now you're going to see such an intense high level of care that we really wish we had all gotten in the first place. It doesn't seem fair at all.
Yeah, and I still have all these questions, and by the way, something that I wanted to clarify. If I don't know if people watch the reunion and all that, but I was speaking about my stillbirth, and I did say that it looks like it was a mix of cord compression with small placenta. For some reason, my accent got in the way, and all the magazine wrote swallow placenta. So it's not swallow placenta, it's a small placenta, which means the placenta is smaller in the ratio for where it should be, with a combination of a cord compression, which I have no clue how the cord can even be compressed. I know I've been joining you one time with Dr. Jason Collins, which was very helpful. I still need to see the videos you send me about those hot cord compressions, because it sounds like it's an easy thing to have in the womb. You can just get your cord compressed with a baby and you have no clue. And then it makes me wonder about babies that's born and they are not okay, and they did all the genetic testing and it's fine, and then the babies have some sort of like autism, or maybe like some sort of mental issue that may be caused by some sort of cord compression that nobody knew about. And I don't know, I have all these crazy
That's
theories,
true.
right? Like,
It's very true. Actually, I know because of what I do, a lot of women who have been able to save their baby because they notice the fetal movement change, which we talk about a lot, to notice if your baby's moving more or even, less or more. More means possible cord compressions because they're kind of frantic, like they're not getting.
and my baby moved a lot. So then I'm like moving forward, which hopefully God will send me. And I'm not that religious, but now I'm like, hopefully I will get pregnant again. Am I going to freak out when the baby moves more? Because before I'm like, oh, the baby is active, it's my coffee, it's whatever. Yes, I drink Nescafe when I was pregnant. I wasn't too crazy about all that stuff, but what does that mean, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's just getting to know your baby's normal movement, which we talk a lot with push for empowered pregnancy, is, throughout the day, kind of get to know the routine of your baby, when they wake up, how much they move throughout the day, if your husband comes in and talks, that they get, a little bit excited and they move. That's all normal. These are behaviors of a baby that's developing, and this is usually after 26 weeks, 28 weeks, normal pregnancies, we usually start kick counting. And so if you notice one day something very bizarre, out of the ordinary, like the frantic, all of a sudden very wild movements, that's something that some women have reported before stillbirth. So hopefully you just kind of get to know your baby. I'm actually going through my old pregnancy after loss little journals that I kept about my experience, and I'm like, oh my God, what I survived. It's crazy. You're remembering, because like you just said, you're going to freak out and you are going to be worried, and it's hard because you're just like, was that different, but also you're empowered because now you know about this. So it's kind of sad. Like, that's why a lot of the countries that are reducing stillbirth talk about fetal movement education, not just for the mother to know about this, but for the providers too, because sometimes you get the wrong response. Sometimes you call in and they'll say, well, that's kind of normal for the end of pregnancy for your baby not to move, which is not true.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, it's moving, less room to grow. I mean, I still had some sort of like a bad feeling, but unfortunately I didn't go to the ER, which I should have. I just went to some private ultrasound because all I care is like, oh, perfect heartbeat, cord is not around the neck. I didn't even know anything about cord compression. I had no clue that if the baby towards the end of the pregnancy move less, it's because there is some sort of distress. So now I'm like, oh, okay. And it just makes me really mad. And I'm sure you feel the same thing years later, because it just, I don't know. I think it's a trauma that will always be there. And I just spoke with my husband about it last night. I'm like, I still want to have that, whatever. Now it's going to be a fourth baby because I lost my third, but it's never going to replace or fill that void, because then I would say, well, I could have had 4 children and now I have 3. So it's not like, okay, now I have my third baby because I have a fourth baby because I didn't have my third one. So it's just, it's like always like the trauma is always there, and also like the what if, it's just always there. Like you learn to live with it somehow because you have no choice. You have kids, I have kids, thank God. I can tell you from the women who message me, it's their first child. I mean, that's just, I don't know how I would do if it would be my first child.
Yeah, that's something, a memory I have very strongly about my loss, is how dark it is for you, immediately after. And I mean, it's just like, how am I going to live? That's just the only thing I could think is like, how can I go so many days of life, because you just want to be with your baby. It's just like a horrible feeling, like we're going to be separated, and having my daughter was like my savior because I knew I had to be her mom,
Yeah. I mean, I remember when it happens, it was right around Christmas for us. And I love that time of the year because it's like, the lights and everything. And we just walked around my streets and, the houses are so beautiful with the lights and everything just looks like, like gray, unhappy. I just wanted to remove the Christmas tree already and move forward, because that means, okay, we're going, like time goes by faster and like I'm moving on. And I'm 7 months in, but it feels like it was yesterday in a way.
Yeah.
And, obviously suffering a recent miscarriage, that, that sucked too, but stillbirth is a whole different level for sure. I mean, I just had a woman message me like last week that she had her baby, she delivered her baby, and 30 minutes later the baby died. So I don't know how we all have the energy to move forward. I mean, life is stronger than everything. I guess we have no choice, like you said, but it's tough.
Yeah. No, I mean, like you said, it chases you, and when you said that, I was like, that's the perfect word. This whole thing is just like, I'm maybe to others, I appear obsessed, like all I post about is stillbirth, and that's my whole account. It's still my son, it's about him. It became like my journal. That's where I kept my thoughts, because I thought, like, normal people, they don't want to hear this anymore. They don't want it all over my Facebook, and I was a professional then. So I was like, I can't really talk about that much. So it was like my private journal, and now it's public because of the awareness I'm trying to create. But yeah, that's all I post about, because I feel like we have to talk about it and we have to amplify it. Because if I save a baby, which I want you to talk about, because I know you mentioned one at least has contacted you who got her baby out in time because of your story. It's so worth it.
It is. I mean, and that's the thing. It's like my biggest advice is like, yeah, if you pay attention to like either maybe more movements or way less movements, then definitely go to the hospital. And if you are advanced pregnancy, get monitored, maybe get connected to the monitor for not like an hour, for a day, to see if there is any decrease in heartbeat or anything that indicate a problem. Because one of the ladies messaged me, she's like, I just want you to know that you saved my baby's life. I had a bad feeling. I read your story. I insisted to get delivered. They delivered her, and they did had 2 knots around the cord. So I mean, so she thanked me, because it could have ended up bad. And yeah, I mean, I feel like there are a lot of stories that it almost was close, but it didn't happen. And they are lucky and thankful. And unfortunately for us, we weren't lucky. And yeah, it's gonna chase me forever, because every year, every birthday, it's always gonna be like, what could I have done different? I had a perfect baby, like nothing genetic. Look, if the pathology report would come with a bad genetic or something in the brain or the heart, then I would be like, okay, thank God, it's meant to be. The baby is not going to suffer. We're not going to suffer. But the baby pathology was just perfectly fine. It was just a really bad accident. And we always say, oh, the babies are protected in the womb. It's the safest place. But clearly, it's not really the safest place at some cases. So it better be in the NICU maybe,
Right.
for a week or two, versus inside me that I don't know what's going on.
And actually, I have a lot of families that reported that as well, and they've saved their babies, but they do have to come out early sometimes. And see,
Yeah.
when we're trained to think that, like, oh, baby's healthy and normal and everything's fine. Every time you come in, all your tests are fine, and the doctors are like reassuring you, and you're feeling fine. You're a healthy young woman, you're doing everything right. It's really hard for you to trust that instinct if you have it, that something might be different today. So that's what's really difficult. And that's why we really talk about it a lot, because if your baby has to come out, like mine would have come out at 32 weeks, that's pretty young. No one would say, like, let's just take a baby out for no reason. If the mom's kind of worried, let's go ahead and take it out. But maybe they would have actually put a monitor on. Maybe they would have had me there, for several days to see what's going on here. Because there were cord compressions for me as well, and it was for several days. Well, I didn't know that, of course, and they're not checking your cord at normal appointments. So that was just like not seen, and it could have been possible if I had seen a difference in the movement somehow, or if my cord was constantly being checked every appointment. Or
Because
if
my doctor told me, yeah, when you get pregnant next time, we could see the flow or something. Like he mentioned that we could see it or pay attention to it, but it's just what really makes me mad. It's like, okay, oops, sorry, now that you have a dead baby, we're gonna check for some flow and all that. That should be, I mean, look, during pregnancy, in my case, what you have like 4 or 5 ultrasound, and that's it. That's it. Like,
yeah,
you don't know what's going on. I mean, I want, look, the private ultrasound that I did, it's like one of those 3D places. So again, maybe if I would go into the hospital, I would have better like monitoring, but then would it be too late at this point? Because the baby was moving already less and less. I mean, even if I deliver, would I have a normal baby? Like, it's a lot of questions. I mean, he looked normal when I deliver him. Everything looks fine. I mean, obviously it was, had a little peel over the skin, but it looked like a perfect developed baby. So it's almost like, yeah, oops, now we're gonna check on you better. And that's just what makes me sometimes still mad. It's like, okay. And I don't think people who experience a stillbirth or like and pregnancy loss can really understand like the effect of the mom, the family, this, siblings. In my case, my kids are little, so they barely understand, thank God. But if someone has a family that the kids are older and understand, that's a really big trauma for the kids too. So,
well, yeah, you could definitely check the cord. There's cord Doppler scans, which Dr. Collins talks about, and it's going to take parents like us who are sick of this, who are going to say, this is not appropriate care. Our standard of care is so low in our country anyways. We can see that with the statistics of stillbirth being so high, 23,000 a year. That's huge. And we are not reducing the rate. We are actually like 49th or 48 out of 49 high income countries to reduce it. So everyone else is doing much better doing something, right? We're not even doing anything. We don't have protocols. And, that's why we talk about things that we can do, like actually the Shine for Automac, which we've talked to you about a little bit. And
yeah, I'm sorry. I know. I owe Debbie like more like publicity and all that. And I saw your post. I'm gonna get to it. I just didn't expect to go
Yeah.
to Amsterdam to see my dad, but so I'm gonna get more involved with that as well. Actually, if you want to talk about
Yeah, the
Shine
Shine
to Act.
Act. Well, what's exciting, first of all, thanks to your senator, one of them is one of the leads on this, Marco Rubio. So him and Cory Booker, and then we have two more new ones adding on. So we're just trying to find co-sponsors right now. So if anybody wants to help us with that, you can go to stillbirthstories.com, and that's a great way to just send a message to your senator. It's right there, like a letter is already filled out about what this act will do. And you'll just put your address and name, and it'll send a message. But we also need meetings with senators. So if you can try, that next step will really help, because they need to hear from us. They need to make sure that, we're telling them this is important. This is not just for our families. Obviously, I'm done with pregnancy. You might want to have another, so this might help you, but you're already going to get better care. But we're talking about everybody else in this country we're sitting ducks, we're just going to the appointments that we get. We're thinking we're getting all the care we need, but obviously not. And this Shine for Autumn Act will actually start at the very beginning, which is sad to start from this, but we need to know the causes of these losses. So it's collecting data properly, and it's including training, because we don't all get a cause of our stillbirth. I know you finally got yours through Dr. Kleiman, and I myself didn't get this cause for 6 years because no one was helping me. My doctors
They
were
just tell you it's happened, but I'm like, no,
yeah.
it's not just happened. Baby don't just die like in the womb because they feel like they want to. Like it's not just happen. Like I don't get this answer. Like no, it could be either like genetic, it could be some problem with blood clotting, it could be some sort of reaction, I don't know, with the mom immunity attack the baby. There are so many other reasons that could happen, and we need to know. I mean, I know you follow Christina Perry, and she messaged me on Instagram too. It looks like she has a blood clotting issue. And nobody told her. She didn't know. Like I'm taking baby aspirins, but I don't even know if I have an issue. Like, I mean, I think they did a test for me. I really think they check on me because they told me just take baby aspirin just in case. So I've been doing that for blood clotting in pregnancy, but
yeah, that's what I did too, because I read about it. I did my own research after losing a baby. Nobody told me about this before, of course. And then I had my multiple losses. I had miscarriages, and they would not check for the blood clotting disorder, which I'm so thankful for her using her platform for this too, because they won't just give you tests unless you demand. And then a lot of times it's like, oh, insurance won't cover this one.
it's all about money in this country. I love United States, but it's all about money. And I feel like part of it with the stillbirth, yeah, they would not want to deliver you at 37 weeks because God forbid the lungs are not developed yet, and then they have to put you in the NICU, and then there is more liability. So that means more lawsuit. And again, it's like, it's a whole thing. And I'm not saying to every woman, hey, reach 37 weeks, go deliver, but then do more ultrasound, then do more monitoring tests. Like, maybe you should come, I don't know, every other day to check for like the movement. I don't know. There are so many things you can maybe do more, but it's all about money, and I don't know. I don't know what else could be done.
It is. But the sad thing is, what they don't realize is that there's actually more cost if you have a stillbirth than if you have a born baby, a live baby. So we still have to deliver. We still have to go through all that expense, and insurance is covering their portion. So insurance needs to think about providing the better care all throughout so that these situations do not happen, because after the fact, we also have to have additional testing. A lot of us do autopsy, which I was talked out of, but you should, if you've had a loss, try to get some answers. You have to get the blood test. You have to go through an additional higher level for your next pregnancy, which is very expensive. So this next pregnancy after loss is going to cost them more money. Had your son been alive, you wouldn't need that anymore. So
yeah,
you have therapy, you have cost to the family. You're still working. You're a warrior. I don't know what you're doing, but I stopped working. I couldn't work. I couldn't be with people that saw me pregnant. I fell apart, and that's what happens to a lot of people. And so the workforce will suffer from someone very productive. I used to work and make a lot of money for my club. I was like, nope, I hate sales now. I don't care about that, so out of there.
I
And
mean, I have a sweet client of mine, and she told me, I don't know how you even function and work. Like I had a miscarriage and I quit my job, a miscarriage. And stillbirth is a whole, I mean, I had to close the deal, like literally from the hospital as I'm still, delivering a baby. Like I couldn't disappear on my client because that's not responsible, but I had to function. And in a way, like I think I was still in a shock that this is even happening to me. But yeah, I had to like do showings and do real estate, and the show comes out around the same time, and everything is fine, and everybody are living their life as they should. But I still have that trauma that I need to figure out, okay, how do I move on from this trauma, or at least not move on, but it's like, how do I live? What do I do? I have 2 kids, thankfully, thank God, because I tell you, if it would be like a first child, that's even, and I had, again, those women who messaged me with first baby, like how are they gonna do it with a second pregnancy? Like, it's terrible.
No, it's so scary. I know a lot of people who have to go through it, and it's hard to trust the system, first of all, now that this has happened to you, all this reassurance from your pregnancy, and then the baby just passes away and you're just like, oh, well, that just happens, you're like, what in the world, So I actually did not go back to the same doctor. There was no way I would do that. But I did get the high risk doctor too. So that did help me. It did make me feel a little more secure, because I thought, well, this guy, he's on top of it. He's delivered so many high risk situations, every single kind, with triplets and all that stuff, so surely he can help me get a baby here. But even in that pregnancy, I got into situations where I was like fighting with them, like, I need more tests. I have an infection. And they were just like, no, you don't, and every appointment, I have it in my journal, like every week I was coming in, this is still there. I still have an infection. And they were treating it different ways and it wasn't coming out. And so finally they did one more test, and it turns out it was group B strep. And plus this other thing is called BV for short. So they're like, oh yeah, because it's in your urine, it's actually dangerous. Normally you can have group B strep in pregnancy, and they test for everybody routinely.
I had a group B with my stillbirth,
Yeah.
but Dr. Kleiman said that it's not the placenta or whatever didn't look infected. But I was wondering if it's had, and in my other pregnancy I didn't have that, but I was wondering maybe that infection really caused something. I don't know. I have
Yeah.
no clue. Nobody tells me anything. So I don't know if that,
Infection
I
in
know
pregnancy is so dangerous, it can be the reason you go into preterm birth, which is what I was really freaking out about, because I had a cerclage too. So my son was coming early in 20 weeks and I had to have surgery for that. But people don't realize infections are so serious, so if you notice a change in your body, that's another tip we can offer. You need to speak out and don't back down just because you have the high risk doctor or the best doctor, that you trust.
I mean, look, with the miscarriage now, I mean, look, a lot of people, another thing is like the vaccine, okay? I got the vaccine the day I got pregnant with Mason. I don't think it has to do with it. I don't know the research. I know I hear mixed things about the vaccine, and I'm not a doctor, but I just want to clarify that I didn't get the vaccine late pregnancy. I got it the day I got pregnant with Mason. My family all had COVID around the stillbirth, but I never got COVID. I don't know if my reaction for my body did something. Again, Climate didn't see any placenta infected with that. So I think it's really like that, just that bad luck with the cord.
I just want to say about that, people are trying to get on that because, there's a community that doesn't want vaccinations and that sort of thing. But the fact of the matter that stillbirths are higher right now has nothing to do with this vaccine. The vaccine is actually helping protect the women. And actually, once you have your baby will have that protection. What is happening is people are getting COVID, and some of them are getting it earlier in pregnancy, like very early on, and that affects the placenta, the development of the placenta.
Yeah, I mean, I got COVID. My miscarriage now, I had COVID probably around the same time that I got pregnant, like implantation and stuff. So the baby was there until 7.5 weeks, and then it just stopped growing. So I don't know if that COVID, the thing that I had, maybe infected that, maybe affected the beginning of the stage of the pregnancy. Like, I don't know, it could be a bad egg, or it could be just,
Right.
bad luck with the chromosomes, or it could be definitely the COVID I got right around the same time I was pregnant. And then I had the miscarriage. So it could be that. I don't know. I mean, there are so many like theories and questions. And
Another thing about COVID, I'll just say why the numbers have gone up is because the care level had changed. I don't know if it happened in your pregnancy, but some people didn't go in as much in person. Some people didn't get as many ultrasounds because of that. They had over the phone care. And a lot of people didn't get to bring their support people, which does play a part in pregnancies. A lot of women feel like they need their support, their partner or whoever's coming with them. So if they forget a question or they're not being heard, that does help to have your partner with you. So things did change during COVID and level of care. So that's what I'm finding out with COVID.
Yeah.
We have a lot of comments coming on Facebook. I'm
Oh,
so
really? Because I
glad
have no
people are
clue how many
watching.
people
I
are
know.
watching. And
Thank you all for watching. I just wanted to acknowledge you, and I know that we don't like to keep Maya too long because she's a busy woman, so I won't bring in too many of the questions, but everyone is thankful for you and your time and raising awareness. And I think what is so important for everyone in the world to see is that this is happening. It's at crisis level. We all need to participate in raising this awareness and like actually do your part, call your senators, because if you're pregnant now or you're planning to be, this can affect you. You know, it's not about me anymore. I'm doing this for my son because I honor him with this work. You know, I'm a volunteer. I love to talk about him and I love to, you know, help people save their babies. And if I hear a story like yours, and I was like, when you told me, I'm like, oh my God, that's amazing, because, you know, it's sad for you that your baby didn't get saved. But, you know, thankfully Mason is, you know, having an impact, and that's a great legacy, you know. I
and you
hate
know,
that.
like the women who watch me on Selling Sons and they saw me pregnant and well, sorry, saw my stillbirth story and they were pregnant themselves and it happened to them too. So I have those women who message me now, like, we saw your stillbirth and then 2 months later we lost our baby. So they probably think like, what are the chances? Okay, it's very rare, and then it happened to them. So it's almost like, look, I mean, I'm a public figure and I have a lot of followers, so it's obviously easier for me to have more exposure and see the amount of people who experience the same thing that you and I did had. But it's, I don't know, I feel like it's more common than we think.
It is.
You know, when I go, and I said it a couple of times, when I was, every time I'm pregnant, I always read like every week, oh, what's the baby doing? Da, 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 da. And there is a, you know, there is like a little line says, ah, if you know, feel decreased movement, go to call your doctor. And then if you want to prevent stillbirth, don't lay on your back, which I always lay on my side. So I cannot tell you, oh my gosh, I was laying on my back and had a stillbirth. I was laying on my side my whole pregnancy, even like after the first, you know, right after 12 weeks. So that doesn't have to do with it even. Maybe it doesn't help. I mean, but that's all you read, right? Like you read like, oh, if you lay on your back, there is no articles that says like, hey, here is a link for potential causes for stillbirth. Could be cord compression, could be this. I never heard about cord compression. Like every time people think, oh, it was the cord around the neck. That's all I know. Like I had no clue. So I feel like an idiot because I'm a 40 years old, you know, I wouldn't say I'm genius, but I'm educated woman. We never even think there is a compression in a cord. I had no clue. So I feel like there is a lack of information that could be provided. Like I know they tell you, yeah, decrease movement, but what causes decreased movement? Like, what is the reason? I mean,
Mhm.
so
I
anyways,
think like there's a fear of like a mass hysteria if everyone knows this, right? Like we don't want every mom freaking out and coming in every day, but in reality, places that are using additional like protocol teaching about fetal movement, talking, using the word stillbirth, telling everyone we are all at risk, you know, it's not the highest risk, it's 1 out of 170, but we know that many people. So, you know, just be careful with your pregnancy and be on alert, you know, that alertness is going to help you in the time like this. Like if I had even heard the word, maybe I would have noticed change too sooner, but no one talked to me about it at all. And that's why it's so important to talk about it and, you know, to show ourselves, because sadly people assume it only happens to people who are doing the wrong thing or like, oh, you're
yeah,
smoking.
like drug addict and all that. Sure, did I had a glass of wine, you know, once a week or even a half a glass? Yes, I did. I asked Kleiman, is it the wine? He's like, no. I'm like, is it my Nescafe that I'm drinking? No, it's nothing to do with that. But yeah, it's like I don't do drugs, I don't smoke, like I don't do anything. I work out, I'm very active. I do, you know, I eat very healthy. Like I eat a lot of vegetables, fruits. Like I have a very good, decent diet. Take the multivitamins, baby aspirin. I do everything right, and still it happened to me. And that's what makes me so mad because you read about stillbirth and they tell you, oh, low income places, you know, from these places and people who do drugs. And so then you're like, okay, I didn't do any of that. Why am I in this stupid statistic?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, you had unfortunately the kind of a perfect storm, as they call, with the cord compressing and then this placenta not continuing to grow, and your son so healthy. He was healthy, he was a normal size, you know, so just the placenta can no longer sustain him. So it's just so sad because those are definitely things that are out of your control, you know, personally. And I hope you know that. It sucks, you know, this happened, but as far as what the protocol changes are in like the UK and other countries, Australia also has a care team doing protocols there. So everyone's doing the same care. All that they're changing isn't really mother related. The only thing mother related is no smoking, which we aren't doing, and fetal movement, like noticing the movement and coming in. And the rest of it's on them. You know, they want the doctors to be checking for growth restrictions, you know, making sure they're looking at that. The cords, it's really tricky. That's why we have those meetings with Dr. Collins, because no one really wants to accept that they could do more for cords. And I don't
And
believe,
it's so important. It's like literally like what feeds the baby with the placenta.
yeah,
So we look at the baby and they assume, okay, the baby is growing fine with the cord, but what if there is some sort of like decreased oxygen or whatever, blood flow less? I mean, there is no way to find out. I mean, obviously there is a way because, you know, like, so it just makes me read that, okay, now we're gonna pay attention.
mm-hmm.
But meantime, I need to figure out a stone that I need to choose for the cemetery because I still need to choose the stone. And I've been pushing it away because I just don't want to deal with. But I mean, yeah, so okay, next pregnancy we'll find out what we can do better. But meantime, I have to choose what I'm going to write on a stone for a baby that I didn't get a chance to hug. And it just makes me mad and sad, frankly. Like it's just,
Yeah, you should be, you know, and I know you're not the only one in your family. I mean, everyone is affected by that. So we speak about it. Usually you see moms talking because we are the ones that got the medical care and we know more. And maybe we can handle it. My husband doesn't like to talk about this, you know. It's very
yeah,
traumatic for them as well. And, you know, long-term effects last for everybody involved. That's why, you know, the cost of stillbirth is so high. You have PTSD and trauma for the rest of your life. It kind of trickles into how you parent your other children. And for me, you know, my husband, I thankfully we've lasted, but people have broken up marriages. You know, it's really hard because you can grieve differently. You know, one person wants to be like me, fighting and doing stuff, talking about it all the time. The other person doesn't, you know, and it's triggering,
yeah,
traumatizing. So we have to have a balance. And my husband's comfortable now, just like going to the other room and I do this. But some people just can't handle it. You know, they want the support of their husband equal, and I had that early on where I was like, why isn't he crying all the time like me, you know? And it's because he was trying to be strong. He had to take care of Naomi and take her to school while I was just in the room and unable to move, you know?
yeah.
So,
That's true. That's very true. Everybody grieve differently. And I see it from the women who message me. They sound as upset at their partner that he's went to the work the next day, but everybody are different. Like my husband grieve, he took his time, but then he go back to work and I'm the one who always bring up the stillbirth more than him, but he's obviously very upset about it. And said he just like, what choice do we have? We have two kids. We can't just be here depressed all day. That's not good for them. I talk about Mason when I can, but I also don't want to cause them trauma because they're still little, so they don't understand fully. But yeah,
no, and it'll evolve, you know, how you deal with it and what you're comfortable sharing or not sharing. At the beginning, I was just like, oh, everyone's going to forget about my son, Owen, you know, and no one's talking about him anymore after a few weeks where it's like condolences, condolences. And then, okay, you know, they expect you to move on, have more children and focus on your living children. And I get that even from family where they think I'm taking too much time for my kids to do this. But I do feel like as a mother of three, this is his time, you know, and I will give it to him for the rest of my life because I can't do it any other way. Sorry. You made me cry last. You
I'm
cried last
sorry.
time, and I was like,
I'm sorry.
it's hard to go there, but you know, I wish I could raise him. He would be 7, and that's also why I talk, because I think for other mothers to see a mother like me who's still here doing the things I do, and this is how I love him, you know, and I think people worry about that, like, what am I going to do to be his mother for so long, and how am I going to keep
Yeah,
talking about him and stuff, and you know, at the beginning, yeah, it was hard because I didn't have a cause, but now I do, and I feel like I have a strength to do these
to
talks,
do it. Yeah.
and like women that look to me for answers, and you know, some people have found answers now, thankfully, and that relieves so much trauma for the woman because they blame themselves and
Yeah.
they worry like they did something wrong, and it's not fair how this like culture it treats women like we're just supposed to produce babies, and if we don't do it, oh well, you know, go have more. It's
Yeah.
not, and there's no support. And then there's this whole debate about who can have an abortion or not. Well, guess what? I wanted my baby, but nobody's fighting for me. Nobody's here helping me. Why does nobody
Yeah.
care about Owen? He had a name, and that's why we're going to do the big push in Washington, D.C. It's October 15. Anybody who wants to join us, we're just going to walk out there with these empty strollers, because that's what we have, empty strollers. Didn't get to come home with our child. And we want you to see, like, hopefully we're going to try to get 23,000, which is the number of babies each year that die in our country. But it's going to be a big show, to say, listen, this is real. These are full-term babies that could be home with us, and we want them. We want our babies. They have names. I'm going to wear Owen's shirt. I have his bear, which he comes to my things because this is his size. This is how big he was. He was heavy, even for a 32.
32.
He was going to be great. He could have survived it had we got him out a little bit sooner. And, there could have been damage, but I would have been.
I mean, I know one of my friends, she had twins, and in literally 24 weeks, she had to deliver because her placenta, I don't know what was the reason. One twin died and one twin survived at 24 weeks, and he's like 2 years old now. So yes, Owen could have survived.
Yeah, and that's what my doctor said. They were like, we tried to resuscitate for like half an hour because we thought there's no way. Like, we save smaller babies all the time. He would look so healthy. He wasn't, and he was okay. He still had a heartbeat when I got there, but it was low. It was going away. So it was just too much damage, and that just so heartbreaking, like I was so close, and there's people who don't know, and they come in and, oh, there's no heartbeat, right? That's just how are you going to tell someone that,
That sound like, I mean, all my deliveries were vaginal, including Mason. And moving forward, if I do get pregnant again, I'm like, what do I do? Do I just go 37 weeks and just I'm like, hey, just C-section me and just take the baby out? Because I don't want any problem with like pushing and then the baby, like my first son, Aiden, he got stuck. I mean, that could have ended up in a traumatic event too. Like, I don't know what, I had no clue, but I pushed for 2 hours and it didn't come out, and I had to put him with vacuum, and things could easily like turn like south. And thankfully it didn't, and I have Aiden. But moving forward with another pregnancy, I'm good with deliver vaginal, and it's a great recovery. But I'm like, I don't want to have any problems. I'm scared, like it's maybe just like cut me open and just take the baby out. I don't want to push. I don't want to deal with like potential cold and all that stuff. I don't know. I'll take it as it comes. First, let me get pregnant and actually carry it to term. But one thing at a time. Apparently, I get pregnant easy. I just, which I'm lucky and thankful for. A lot of women who dealing with, fertility issues and IVFs and all that stuff. So at least I didn't have to go through that. But I'm still pushing. I am 40, so it's not like I have the whole time in the world.
Well, that's another tragedy, actually, that I just want to point out. A lot of moms who've lost babies are IVF moms who had to go through a lot to get pregnant and spend a lot of money, and their partner as well. And that's a lot of cost to society as well for families trying to get pregnant. And we don't even understand. Like, we need to do more research just on everything there is to do with pregnancy. Like, we don't know why there's preterm labors happening. So the Iris Foundation is another great group that they're researching. Why do people start labor early? What causes that? And that would be so helpful for women who are losing babies, like for incompetent cervix earlier, like second trimester loss. There's just so many holes. And I honestly think that we're going in the right direction, because there are so many people like us who are willing to speak about it, and like, we're demanding it. We're not just saying, oh, I'm so sad. Yeah, I'm sad, but I'm also angry, and I want change,
Yeah, and I promise I'm going to post about Davy's organization. I just got sidetracked with my short trip for my dad. So I'm going to post that and, try to do as much as I can with my exposure and public, public attention. I don't want to post every day because people think I'm just like, like to your point, it's like, oh gosh, here she is posting again, and I don't want to see it and all that. But I also don't want to like not talk about it, because it's my personal story and my personal trauma, and that's my social media. So I want to do whatever I want. But yeah.
Yeah, but the things you're sharing also, like, even when you spoke about your trauma and your sadness over the loss, that connected you to so many people that now feel like, oh my goodness, I've been seen and supported, and someone like me, like, and that's what's so shocking to me, because I have people follow me every day and I'm like, wow, this young girl, like woman, beautiful baby shower, like that was the previous photo. And all of a sudden she's talking about she lost her baby. And it just shocks me every day, because I'm like, honestly, I didn't think it happened for this reason. I didn't think it could just happen to anybody, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I see it. I get the emails, I get the messages, I get a lot of them, a lot. And it's not just like you and I and and two others. It's like thousands of women.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, and this is just like the basics of society, right? Is having children, happy, healthy families. So I think everyone should be very invested in this. Don't worry about you didn't have a stillbirth, so you don't know what to do. We know what to do. Please support us. Shine for stillbirth, push for empowered pregnancy. Great organization.
Yeah, push. I mean, through push, I found Dr. Kleiman, and at least I got some sort of like answer for what happened. Because the pathology report, first of all, it took forever until I got it. I had to chase them, call them a million times, but I got it, and it looks fine. It just said, oh, spots in the placenta, but it doesn't tell you what could be the cause. Like, okay, but all I know is that my baby was genetically fine, which it's like my husband says, like any answer you're going to get, you're going to be upset, because if the baby was genetically not good, you're like, okay, why is genetically it's not good? What are we going to do next pregnancy? If the baby is genetically good, I was like, then why did it happen? It's just like,
Right.
So there's always those following up questions. So even with the perfect baby pathology report, I was upset, because I'm like, okay, I could have had a perfect baby. It could have been 7 months today, and I would be done with pregnancy, done with everything. And I know people like laugh and say, oh, just be whatever, you always pregnant and all that. But yeah, I mean, I always wanted, I want to have a big family, and I didn't know, I was okay with my two kids, right? And I'm like, okay, we go for it? Should we not go for it? And then we start trying for the third. And then when I lost my son, I'm like, then I just couldn't let go. And I still cannot let go. Look, if I'm going to have like 3 more miscarriages or whatever, I probably mentally will just say enough is enough. But I'm hoping that the next one will just go through. I mean, that's all I can hope. But, people say, oh, at least you have already 2 kids and whatever. Yeah, it's true. But I still buried the baby. I still had to go to a cemetery. I still had to deliver the baby. And I still see his face. I still feel him, and I lost him. So it doesn't take away. It helps me move on, I should say move on, but accept and acknowledge, but it doesn't take away from my pain. The fact that I have children. I mean, thank God, but I have them.
Right. Yeah, I've always felt that way, because I wanted a big family and I had so many lost, and I'm like, oh, I could have like 5 right now,
Yeah.
It would be a different mother, and I'm sure I would be crazy running around, but that's what I wanted, And after my last finally coming through, thankfully alive, I just like, that's enough, because I know I'm at danger with now 3 C-sections and I can't leave my children, so I've decided that's it for us. But
Did you do C-section? Got it.
I had to, because of the cerclage they put in so that he wouldn't come out early. He was trying to exit at 20 weeks. It's not good.
Wow. So when did you C-section for him to come out? Like what?
7.5, I think it was.
Wow.
Because I was there for the last week. I had a little bit low fluid. And this is what's crazy, because I didn't even know the real cause, but I already thought it could be a cord, because I was writing in my journal, like, oh no, if there's a low fluid, this cord can be compressed. And so I didn't even know about this stuff. I just got it from somewhere. And so I was like, wow, imagine that. Like, that could have probably reoccurred. So thank God I was a different person, and I was like, I'm not without my baby. And they kept me on monitor the whole time for the whole week, even though I should have gone home the first day, because they got me back to normal. And they said, no, you'd be fine. I'm like, well, we don't know why the fluid's coming out. So if it's coming out, it could continue to come out at home. And then I'm going to have to fly over here, an hour away to see you, and maybe I'll be too late again. So I refused to leave. And so
that's good.
They kept me. Yeah. And then finally at the end, they were like, okay, you're having some contractions. We're going to schedule you for today. But they wouldn't, schedule it early. I kept, from the very beginning, I was like, can we just plan this for 37 weeks? I cannot make it like to 39 even. And the doctor said, no, I need to get you to 39 at least. So every time we met, I would ask for a date and he wouldn't give it to me. So at the end, the baby decided, he started to come. But yeah, it's very traumatic, difficult. We have the Rainbow Clinic now in New York. I don't know if you've seen some of those posts for Push that we're helping with that. And, for parents after loss, the care does have to be different because you need that empathy. And you also need, to find out more about the previous loss before you go into this pregnancy. It's so helpful just to have the right care for you. Like Christina's, as you mentioned earlier, now she can take blood thinners. Like how simple is that? Now she can do that with this pregnancy and hopefully maintain a healthy pregnancy. So
yeah.
well, thank you so much, Maya. I'm not going to keep you all day because I know you have your mom there too. So I hope you enjoy
Thank
it.
you.
Know that we really appreciate you and everything you're doing, and loving Mason, we will never forget him either. So I hope you feel some comfort, knowing his name is being thought of, and we're all just so proud of you. I do this now, but I'm already 7 years almost after loss. So it's like the trauma isn't as fresh. So I know what your days probably look like. So thank you for coming on screen here.
Yeah, no problem. I'm happy to be there and be there for other women. I don't know who is watching and how many women watch, but obviously I'm always happy to share parts of on my social media if you want to send me some sort of like link. And
thank you so much. And if anybody wants to follow Shine for Stillbirth on Instagram, that's the bill that we're promoting, and it needs to go soon. It's actually maybe 3 weeks left before this summer break. They go on session. So if we can, everyone just contact today your senator, go to stillbirthstories.com. That's the easiest. Like I mentioned, just send a quick message. That would be so helpful. You do not have to be a lost parent, just care about this issue. And then we'll hopefully get that passed this year, which, that's just the first step. We'll be able to have the data we need. We'll start to do research. And there's also some training for pathologists in there, which you mentioned, like your pathology report was kind of not worth anything. Well, that's because not
they didn't
everyone
give me anything. I'm like, okay, like everything looks perfect. So what happened?
Yeah, no, we need better than that. We need answers, and we deserve answers. And those answers will help future families too for the research. So if we don't have that in there, then how can other people get better care? That's actually the first thought I had after I lost my son, and they were telling me, oh, healthy babies just die. I was like, so you're telling me that you're fine with what just happened to me, first of all. And second of all, you're going to let it happen to somebody else because you don't plan on changing anything. You're not going to talk to me about it. You're not going to look at my records to understand this better. That was what really upset me, because I thought,
Yeah.
great, no one learned from this. My son died and it's just for nothing,
Yeah,
like,
you just go home with a memory box and see ya.
yeah. So that's not okay. So if anyone experienced loss, please contact us too. I'm happy to help and connect you.
Yeah, I tag you also on my Instagram. And I'll do post probably like today or tomorrow about Shine, and I'll tag you again, and
Thank
just
you so
to
much.
yeah.
Well, I hope you have a nice rest of your day and relax.
As I relax, I wish I have to go back to work.
Oh, you're gonna work.
I
Oh no.
have work
Work
to do.
sometimes helps a little
Work,
bit.
works keeps me busy.
Yeah.
So it's honestly, it's a healthy busy for me. It's not
Right.
like I'm trying to escape, but it keeps me busy.
I can relate. That's why I do this all the time. Like if I'm doing this, maybe I'm not upset. I'm just like in action, I like to
Yeah,
be
you feel like you're more in control.
right. Thank you so much, Maya.
All right. Good
Care.
seeing you, Anna.
Thank you all
Bye.
for watching. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye. Bye.
I'm sure you could tell this was a really emotional episode for both of us, but we're happy to raise awareness to help others avoid this horrific trauma. We hope that it has helped you in preparing for your pregnancy. Remember to share this episode on social media so you can help others in your circle grow their knowledge and have a better birth outcome. Remember that all the posts that we share and our episodes are not meant to be medical advice. We are simply trying to help you and inform you as you continue your pregnancy, but always remember that you should consult your provider if you have any questions or concerns. They're there to help you, and they are available to you 24/7, even if you have to go into the hospital or ER. Again, follow us on social media to continue up to date with our next episodes and our posts, and feel free to connect with us in the DMs. If you have any questions, we would be happy to be there for you. You are not alone. This is your community, and we hope that you will continue to watch our future and past episodes to continue to add to your knowledge as we interview birth workers, providers, researchers, and even people who have experienced different births, so that when you get to your birth, you'll be a little bit more informed and prepared for whatever comes your way. Goodbye for now.